All right, guys. Make sure I'm showing the right screen. Yes, I am. Okay. All right. So we are at this point in the house build. We have windows, we have doors, we have a ground, we have a roof, a base. So now we're going to add just some special little details. We're going to add a chimney, we're going to add a doorknob, and we're going to add little pathway pebbles. Okay. So first off, we are going to add a chimney. So let me hide my little meeting controls. Okay. So now we are going to go to add and we're going to mesh cube. Okay. So we can kind of see the cube's like hidden. So what we need to do is hit G and Z to move it up the Z axis to get it out of the way. And then what we're going to do is hit view frame selected, which is going to lock our kind of viewport to this cube. And we're going to turn this into the chimney. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is hit S and just move my mouse and it'll help us scale it down. Good. Zoom in. And then I'm going to hit S to scale and I'm going to hit Z to scale it on the Z axis, which means it's going to make it longer. Good. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to object mode and I'm going to change it to edit mode. And I want to make sure we're clicking on the face selections and I'm going to hit my selection box tool and I'm going to click the face on top and I'm going to pivot beneath, hold down shift and click the face below. And then I'm going to hit X and it's going to ask me what I want to delete. I want to delete those faces. Okay. So now this is just a rectangle box with no top or bottom. Okay. And what we're going to do is go back to object mode and we're going to give this some thickness so that it's like an actual like hollowed out chimney. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go over to our kind of multitude of buttons over here, and you're going to click on the little modify tool that looks like a little wrench. And we're going to go add modifier, search, and we're going to type solidify. So this is the guy I want right here. Okay. So what we want is you want offset 1 or -1, and then you're going to go to thickness. And as you drag that up, you'll notice that it creates thickness on the inside of your shape. And if you go into negatives, it puts it on the outside. I want to put it on the inside. So I'm going to put like whatever I want. I'm going to put 0.5 right here, but you can put whatever you want. Perfect. So now know that this is just temporary, okay? But I want to apply this personally, right? So I'm going to go over here and the little arrow or the down pointing arrow next to the camera, I'm going to click that and then I'm going to click apply. What that means now is when I click on this, if I go to edit mode, I can edit any of these and I could change the inside faces if I wanted, okay? We're gonna make these pretty simple. This is a pretty simple chimney. So all I wanna do is click one of the faces and I wanna add a loop cut. So I'm gonna hold down Control R and that adds a little loop cut. And I'm gonna click once to activate it. And then I'm just going to move my mouse up to place it up here. And then I'm going to click when it's where I want it to be. Yeah. Because we're making that little cute, like kind of lip at the top of a chimney. Alrighty, let's click back on our face selection. And I'm going to click one of my faces. And what I can do is I can hold down Control and click the faces on the side of it. And that'll automatically grab them, or Shift. Another thing that sometimes works, if you hit one of the faces and if you go to select loops, edge loops. Oh, oops, that didn't work. So ignore that. Just click one of the faces, hold down Shift or Control and just click the faces on the side here of this top part that we cut. Okay. Now you want to go hold down your mouse on extrude and make sure you're using extrude along normals. Okay. Not just regular extrude along normals. Then you'll see the option come up here to click and move them out a little bit and just however much you want. We're just making that cute little lip that chimneys have at the top. And now let's click off and look at it. That's pretty cute for a simple chimney, all right? Now, if I wanted, I could cut this up and do interesting things, but I'm okay with this just being my chimney for right now. So I'm going to zoom out. And I am going to click the Y axis right here to just move us so that we're facing the house dead on. And oops, I actually want to click to be on the negative Y axis for my house. Okay. here's my chimney. I want to move it down and I want to place it about right here. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you're putting your chimney, obviously, but that's where I'm putting my chimney. So I'm going to hit G to move this. And then I'm going to hit X to move it along the X axis. Then I'm hitting G and I'm going to hit Z to move it down on the Z axis. And I'm going to kind of stick it through my roof a little bit. Let me zoom out to see where it is. Okay, good. I think I'm going to move it so it's a little farther in the back. Like, I think I want it like right here. So I'm going to hit GY to move it back. I think that's good. Here we go. So now let me look at what this is looking like. There we go. So there's my little chimney. I think I want it even bigger. So I'm going to click on it and hit Z to just scale it up a little bit. Yeah. And then maybe I'll just scooch him a little bit so he's a little taller. Woo. Maybe I made him a little too big, like that. Good. Okay, there's my little chimney. All right. So now, doorknob. Oh, first of all, let's name this. So let's click on the chimney and find it in our layers. And let's call this chimney because labeling things is always helpful. Okay. Now I'm going to click off that and all right, we're going to make a doorknob. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to click off so nothing's selected. Make sure you're in object mode and we're going to go add, but we're going to add a UV sphere this time. Okay. You can kind of see it. It's popped right in the origin. This is the origin. It popped right there. So we want to move it up so we can work on it. So I'm going to hit G, Z to move it up the Z axis. Then I'm going to go to view, frame selected so that it snaps to it so I can see it. All right. And now what I'm going to do is I want this to be facing me because right now the kind of like it's like a globe, right? And I want the North Pole to be actually on my y-axis, if that makes sense. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to hit R, and R is rotate. Okay. Now the problem is that this is rotating everywhere. I want it to rotate on the y-axis. Oops, I lied. We actually want this on the z-axis. There you go. And just rotate it a little and click for a second. And the reason we do that is because then this pops up right after and it lets us actually put the specific measurement we want. I want this at 90 degrees. There we go. And what that means is when I click the y-axis, it's staring right at me, the North Pole. That's perfect. Okay. Now we're going to click on this and we want to make this doorknob shape. So what I'm going to do is I am going to hit S to scale it, and I'm going to hit Y to squish it a little bit. There we go. That's more doorknob shaped. Okay. And this is huge right now, but that's because we're going to work big and then we're going to shrink it. Okay. Let's go to the back side of it. And again, whenever I'm moving, I'm just clicking down on my scroll button. And when you click down on it and scroll, it kind of grabs and lets you pivot. Okay. Back side of this, we are going to go to edit mode and we are going to grab face. And I want us to grab basically the first two levels of this circle shape. All right. Now, yes. If you hold down on your selection arrow here, you can go to the selection lasso. And if you do that, you can drag and select like a whole group of things. Yeah. So if you do that, we can select all of these guys right here. Yeah, we like that. Okay. Now we're going to go to extrude and hold down and click until you get the extrude region, which is like the normal extrude. Okay. I'm going to click on my scroll button to pivot. And I'm going to pull this out to extrude it to make the handle or the kind of like the part that connects to the door for the knob. So I'm just going to drag this out a bit. And whenever I'm happy with it, let go. And boom, it's a giant doorknob. We just need to shrink it now. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to hit S and just make them tiny. I'm going to click my X-axis so I can see kind of where it is in relation to the house so I can move it. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to hit G, Y to move it up the Y-axis, and then G, Z to move it down so it's in front of the house. There we go. You're going to get so used to G, Y, Z kind of moving the axes. He's still too big, so I'm going to click Z, or sorry, S to scale and shrink him a little bit, right? Now, like we did with the windows and such, you can click on the doorknob and you can go up here to snapping and you can turn on snapping to faces, which means ideally that when you go to move it, it's going to snap right to the door when you're clicking the door. Now, if I click on the window, it's going to snap on the window. I'm not clicking, I'm just moving my cursor and it's snapping to wherever my cursor is pointed over. All right, let's look at that. Oopsies. Ooh, where's my stuff? There he is. Okay, I'm going to go view frame selected because I kind of got twisted around. And if I go view frame selected, it always snaps to whatever I'm selecting. There you go. Look at that. It snapped right on my door. All right. And I might click on it, scale it a little bit, whatever size I want. And I think I need to push it in even a little bit. So I'm going to turn off snapping so it doesn't get in my way. And I'm going to hit G, Y, because I want it to kind of being like, there we go, like pushed into the door. That's good. I'm satisfied with that. Okay. So I got my doorknob. I got my chimney. All right. Lastly, let's make some little cobblestones. Okay. So same as when we did the doorknob, we are going to add a sphere. Okay. So UV sphere, move it up, GZ, view, frame selected. We're not going to rotate this guy. We're just going to hit S, Z, and squish him. Okay. There we go. Ooh. We can hit S to scale it down a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on that snapping and we're going to hit G and we're going to move it. And when we click on the ground frame or we move our mouse on the ground plane, it's popping on top of that. So if I click, and then if I move down to check out where it's placed, you'll see it's like basically right on the ground plane. Oh my goodness, sorry. Easy to get kind of twisted around here. There we go. So I'm going to make this a little smaller. I'm going to click on it, click S to shrink it. And then I'm going to turn off the snapping because right now, oh my goodness gracious. You can see how you can get turned around in here sometimes. View, frame selected. There we go. So right now, if I pivot, you'll see it's sitting on top of the ground plane or it's like trying to, but I want it to actually be like sinking into the ground. So I'm going to click on it, hit G, make sure my snapping's turned off, G, Z, and I'm going to make it kind of sink into the ground a little bit. There you go. Okay. And I'm going to hit G, Y to kind of move it up a little bit. And now it's just a matter of making copies of these and making their sizes different. So to make a copy, you hit Shift D, that makes a copy. And if you want to move the copy along an axis, you just hit the axis. So I'm going to hit Y to move it along the Y axis. Okay. And then I'm going to hit Shift D, Y to make another one. Shift D, Y to move it up. Good, good, good. All right. Shift D, Y, move it up. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move these. I'm just going to place them where I want. All right. But this is how I would make a little cobblestone path. All right. This is a very simple little cobblestone path. But my next step is to kind of change their sizes to maybe make them look a little more interesting and a little more fun. So you make your cobblestone path however you want. All right. But at the end of this, you should have a chimney, you should have a doorknob, and you should have a little pathway. Okay. Awesome. See you in the next video.